Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I guess it's time to talk about this, how gooning has now become illegal in the UK. It is now illegal to be a gooner. Not really, but it's also not as cut and dry as people are pretending it is. Do you know what? Like, you know how some of the Yanks have a joke, yeah? Some of them have a joke, right? Usually the right-wing ones about, have you got a license for that, mate? It's true. It really is true. We live in such a weird... Straight off the bat, you're going to know how I feel about this. We live in such a weird nanny state where we have real problems, right? People can't afford their fucking food bills or their gas, electric. People can't live at the moment. And this is what they're wasting their time on. I'll just come out straight out the gate. I don't support this behaviour. I especially don't support it because they've just basically... Reform are going to win in like 4 or 5 years time anyway. I'd bet money on it. Is that unethical? Should I? But now they've just been handed the win. Those 16-year-olds who are now not able to goon, right? They're going to be voting for Raj in 4 years time. So thank you, Keir Starmer. Thanks for nothing. You absolute wet lettuce, ham sandwich of a person. You are so moist. Bro, oh my God, I hate him. He's so useless. Ugh. I could do a better job. I won't, but I could. When Reform get in, I'm leaving. Hello, Scotland. Anyway, look, I got it all figured out, yeah, right? Reform's going to get in. Unless something crazy happens in the next 4 years' time, I think it's basically a done deal. They're hoovering up the old Conservative votes, right? Reform gets in. They want to leave. I can't remember the acronym, but it's something about like European human rights. They want to leave it. So that's great. Scotland want to stay in. Scotland wanted to stay in because of Brexit anyway. And I swear like every year they threaten to have independence. I think that'll be the push to give them independence, to vote for it to go through. And Wales will probably follow like a year or two later. No more UK. Then I live in Scotland next to Loch Ness and look for the Loch Ness Monster. So really it's all coming up me. Anyway, let's just get on with it. Right. So now I've already lost some people. But it's not about porn. It sounds it because that's what's clicking all the headlines, but it's also about they want to try to make it so you need ID to look at Wikipedia. The UK is slogging for an online age gate apocalypse. It's a good time to be a VPN provider. Ah, man, I should have like put some stock. No, I met someone who put a bunch of stock in toilet paper and then COVID happened. Should have done with the VPNs. Anyway. People across the UK have been faced with a censored and partially inaccessible online landscape since the country introduced its latest digital safety rules on Friday. And can I just say, if this was about protecting children, which it's not, they don't care. If it was about protecting children, I'm going to say it. You know, there's nonsense in Parliament. Like, there's nonsense in Parliament. There was a report on it like a few years ago. So is it about protecting children? And if the government did care about protecting children, why is the BBC... still around and still taking, like, trying to beg me to pay for a TV license? Huh? If you really cared about children, why is the BBC still operating? You know, that media production company that covered up Jimmy Savile, tried to cover up who Edward... Did they try and cover... I don't care. I'm just saying words at this point. Sue me. I've got nothing. The Online Safety Act mandates that web service operators must use highly effective age verification measures to stop kids from accessing a wide range of material on penalty of heavy fines and criminal action against senior managers. It's primarily focused on pornography and content that promotes suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders, but the scope of priority content also includes materials related to bullying, abusive or hateful content, dangerous stunts, or challenges. Challenges, you say? Are we going to block millions of kids from watching Mr. Beast? Suddenly, I'm all for this. Look. Actually, my opinions are kind of weird on this. They're kind of contradictory because I don't think children should be on the internet full stop. I don't think there should be YouTube Kids. I don't think there should be little channels of family vloggers or, you know, children reviewing toys. I don't think it should be allowed because why get them hooked on this bullshit? I am glued to my phone. My screen time is horrendous. That generation of kids are fucked. Like, I don't think we don't know. It's unprecedented territory. We don't know what we're doing to their brains. Little kids screaming and wanting cocoa melon or whatever. At least back in my day, you went outside and you played in the dirt. But I also don't think it's a good idea for RedTube, Xvideo, Pornhub to have your passport details if you want to goon. I don't think that's a good idea. That's trusting. That's being very trusting of these companies that haven't had the best ethical backgrounds, Pornhub especially. It's very trusting behaviour, isn't it? God, what am I going to do now? I'm just going to have to use my imagination. Do you know what I've been getting on TikTok, actually? I get these adverts for, it's this weird, like, drama reels subscription service. I get adverts for it, yeah. And it's these weirdly acted, usually about, like, romance, but actually just about sex stuff on TikTok. I get a lot of them recommended to me because I sit there and watch the whole thing because I think it's funny. Like, Digby from Made in Chelsea was in one, wearing, like, a ballroom mask or something. They're always really rogue. There was one that was, like, it was, like, something about a silver fox mafia boss. And there was this guy who was clearly just 40 and they put a bunch of, like, silver in his hair. And he was, like, I don't know, banging, like, the mafia boss's daughter or something. Is this what I'm reduced to? I'm going to have to just watch these now. Anyway, do you know what? I'll just fuck the government. I'll just write my own pornos. Effectively. Oh yeah, what are you going to... Well, actually, what about ebooks? What about... Sorry, I think Penelope Douglas and Coho are worse for teenagers than them going on the hub. You're going to need a license for that too. There's certainly arguments to be made, though. I'm not just being super flippant about it. I feel like a lot of the discourse around this is very flippant and quite like surface level, though, because there is something to be said about... So I remember when I was in school and we were all becoming teenagers, yeah, and back then, I don't know if they probably still exist, like Sky TV had like Babe Station, had like these, you know, sex stations on. So like the boys becoming teenagers would watch a lot of that. Or, you know, in shops there'd be... This is the return of the filthy magazine, I think. This is the return of the porno magazine and supporting small local businesses and entrepreneurs. Like, there were always ways and things to get around it. It's and I'm sure, like, back in, I don't know, medieval times, people were still horny and, you know, maybe doing things that weren't entirely age appropriate. Like, let's be real for a second here. But I do think there's a conversation to be had about children being on the internet in general and having access to young boys, having access to people like Tate, and losing entire generations of young boys who grow up to be men following these red pill manosphere bigots, yeah? I'm less concerned about my concern in that is always more the women that some of these men are going to go on to abuse, rather than, oh no, poor men. Do you know what I mean? There is a conversation to be had around it, but I don't feel like people are having that conversation, and I don't feel like this is going to help that much. I think the manosphere red pill shit that's on YouTube, easy accessible to anyone, is way more detrimental. Because I guess, like, porn fucks up your dopamine receptors. That's, I believe, been quite well verified. But the manosphere lot fuck up the culture, fuck up the ideals. And also, we're focusing too much on porn because it's not just the porno sites. Over the past several days, several large social media platforms have started requiring age verification in the UK to access certain features and types of content in partnership with third-party software providers. Users typically have a choice between uploading bank card information, don't need Pornhub to have my debit card details, to be honest, an image of government-issued ID, don't need them to have my passport either, or a facial scan. It's not about protecting kids. A facial scan. Oh, wonder who they're going to be selling that data to then. Fuck off, this fucking nanny state, man. It's just Big Brother, but in the most boring way possible. Big Brother, 1984, you're not even allowed to goon. George Orwell could never. It's like a weird mix of Huxley and Orwell, actually, like Brave New World. Here, take these pills and watch this. It's not me being against medication, but here, take these pills, watch Love Island on repeat. Winter season, summer season. Like, diminish your fucking intellect. Watch these shows forever. And also allow us to take your facial data and sell it off to, Christ, I don't know, Pepsi Cola. It's pathetic. Facial scan that estimates the user's age. I think some people have been either using, like, someone from Death Stranding or whatever. That is funny. I would just print out, not giving anyone advice, but I would just print out. I'd print out a picture of Nigel Farage. Have it scan that, yeah? and then look for like the most roguish like water sports stuff I can imagine. Anyway, Meta users likely won't have seen a huge difference over the weekend as Facebook and Instagram rolled out age verification requirements a few years ago. Blue Sky users in the UK now can't access direct messaging capabilities until they complete the platform's new age verification process. Reddit has also blocked access to specific subreddits in the UK for people who don't complete its age verification, some of which are r/periods. Fuck off. Oh no, would somebody please think of the children reading about periods? r/stop smoking and stop drinking. Are you mad? Are you dumb? Oh my god, I hate this place. Oh, I fucking love it and hate it here. What a joke. What an absolute joke. Have you got a license to stop smoking? And r/sexual assault. What the fuck? For example, provide valued community support and resources for adults and minors alike. People are already finding loopholes for these systems. The face scanning systems for Persona and KID, the third-party verification software used by Reddit and Discord, look, there it is, Death Stranding, I was right, can easily be tricked using Death Stranding's photo mode. That is based. That is based. Maybe the younger generation aren't lost. I think my point that I was trying to adequately put across earlier was, I don't think the younger generation are doing stuff that's too similar to what the people in my generation were doing when we were like 14, 15, 16, though we used to just go out and get drunk in fields, right? I don't know if the younger generation still do that. I think they're actually some of them quite anti-drinking now. I think like that's in at the moment, which I'm for. But yeah, looking at naughty pictures, right, is something most teenagers do. But back in my day, we didn't have the Tates and all of this easy accessible nonsense on YouTube. We're looking if you want to protect kids, you're looking in the wrong fucking areas completely. Because I guess you can't moderate that. Other than banning kids from YouTube, you can't really, you'd have to expect parents to actually do their job parenting, which I know is a pretty tall order, pretty hard thing to ask, isn't it? But I do actually feel bad for parents nowadays because it's like, you have to actively keep your kids away from the Tate shit, whether they're a boy or a girl, and that must be very difficult. So I do have sympathy for them, to be honest. X doesn't have a direct verification system yet and is instead currently estimating age based on factors like account creation date, social connections, email addresses, and legacy verification. That, Elon Musk, is not very free speech of you. Accounts that don't have any of these signals in place are locked out of accessing certain content until X rolls out the AD and facial scanner based checkers. I don't need Elon Musk to see my face. What's this going to do for people that need to stay anonymous? Because people never care about that. They're like, well, I guess we are like besides all this bullshit, we are quite a bit more liberal in the UK than in other certain parts of the world. When the discourse around people wanting to stay anonymous online comes about, and you always get people being like, no, you should have to like have your legal name, whatever. It's like, there are some people in some countries who can't do that, where maybe it's illegal to be gay and they don't want to, have to like pretend to be someone else online. I feel like people get way too myopic about this. Because it's always under some sort of superficial guise of, oh yes, hashtag be kind. Like, people having their legal names ain't going to stop people from being mean online. It doesn't stop people from being mean in real life. Like I say, I live in the UK. Every time I go to Tesco's, I'm fighting for my life. Anyway, that includes protest footage. What? That includes protest footage. That is mad. And video games clips that depict violence. Oh, grow up. I was playing Grand Theft Auto when I was like 8 and I'm fine. Users who aren't even based in the UK are reporting content restrictions as well. What a fucking mess. Outside the biggest platforms, some sites are entirely inaccessible. Cybersecurity company McAfee reports that more than... This is right. And also an issue with this is our governments are always just so fucking inept because they're run by boomers who probably don't even know how to change their profile pictures on Facebook or how to have like an intern show them, right? So like it's like you remember when the TikTok CEO was in American court and the guy was being like, can TikTok connect to the Wi-Fi and then read my Wi-Fi data? And the guy was like, what? Like, it's always these fucking boomers who don't understand the internet, who want to pass these things. And we'll see later on in this, they want to try and... There's now a bit of talk in our government about wanting to ban VPNs because, the usage has had a massive uptick since this happened. It's like, you guys aren't going to be able to ban VPNs, you fucking idiots. If you knew anything about the internet, you'd know that that's a losing battle. Anyway, More than 6,000 websites that host adult content have already implemented age assurance methods, but others have opted to geo-block their services in the UK. A wide variety of related innocuous websites have followed suit. That includes forums for owners of EV Renault vehicles. What is that? Stop people gooning over cars. Electronic music production, beaded jewellery patterns, and tech-focused blogs. Many smaller forums simply don't have the resources to support third-party verification systems or risk millions of dollars in fines. Wikipedia has voiced similar concerns over other Online Safety Act rules that could require it to verify its adult contributors, which the Wikimedia Foundation behind Wikipedia says could leave volunteers vulnerable to data breaches, stalking, lawsuits, or even imprisonment by authoritarian regimes. Wait, someone please think of like the 16-year-old who's going on porn. Sorry, I know, I know that now, like some of you, I'm the bad guy for even saying that. Meanwhile, we've got like 14-year-olds reading fucking Colleen Hoover and no one in the government gives a shit about that. As such, while it's still available for now, the platform is also considering blocking UK users to avoid compliance. I love my country. Won't even be able to use Wikipedia. The UK communications regulator Ofcom declined to offer an attributed on-the-record comment about the new age checks to The Verge. In unattributed statements to other outlets, it said it was now assessing compliance to make sure platforms have them in place and companies that fall short should expect to face enforcement action. I hope that's as useful as the TV licensing people who always send you letters about if you don't get your TV license, we're going to come round your house, we're coming, we're going to be here, we're already here, and then like nothing ever happens. And then you sign up for the TV license and then they still threaten to come round your house. It's like, and what? Have a cup of tea? Fuck off. Sorry, I had a coffee. That's why I'm so rowdy today. UK residents have launched a parliamentary petition in response to the sweeping age verification requirements, urging the UK government to repeal the Online Safety Act, describing it as far broader and restrictive than it is necessary in a free society. The petition has already attracted more than 350,000 signatures at the time of writing, surpassing the 100,000 signatures needed to force the government to consider holding debate over the demands, but they don't listen. Meanwhile, some users have been finding ways to avoid undergoing verification entirely, expressing distrust over handing their personal information over to private overseas companies. Duh! Many restrictions can be evaded by using a VPN, which masks the user's true location, making it seem like they're in another country. One about the UK's rigid online safety rules. VPN apps are currently 5 out of the top 10 most popular free apps on Apple's iOS store in the UK. The top spot is currently held by Swiss-based VPN provider Proton VPN, which surpassed ChatGPT over the weekend. Proton VPN's general manager David Peterson told The Verge that it has seen more than a 1,800% increase in daily signups from UK-based users since Friday. The UK is now one of the countries generating the highest usage for Proton VPN, according to Peterson, with the vast majority of new users signing up for free accounts. This clearly shows that adults are concerned about the impact universal age verification laws will have on their privacy, said Peterson. Again, if they cared about the children, they wouldn't allow family vlogging channels. Like, how many times do we have to see family vlogging channels abuse their kids, take their kids out of school so they can force more content out of them, not pay them a proper wage, because I don't know if that law has changed yet, but they don't count under the child star laws because they're online. If they cared about kids, they'd do something about that, but they're not. The sign-up spike in the UK follows a similar pattern as when other governments put in place restrictions on communication on social media platforms. It shouldn't be surprising since services like Wikipedia, Reddit and X are reportedly being asked to comply with age verification requirements. What are the comments saying? I was instantly against this when I heard about it, but just having gone through the verification for full access to Blue Sky, it's a doddle. Facial image that is encrypted and verified, then deleted immediately after. I'm not sure age verification could be implemented more simply. You sound like a bot, said Harther. And where is your proof that it is deleted immediately after? Bullshit. Some browsers, Opera for example, offer a built-in free VPN that can be activated on demand. Unfortunately, this will impact many kids seeking out support like the Stop Drinking, Stop Smoking and Sexual Assault subreddits mentioned in the article. But if they think this is going to stop anyone seeking out porn, they've never met a teenage boy. If I wanted to be myopic about this, I would say, why should all of these websites have my face card or my credit card details or my ID just because some boys want to watch porn? I'm a grown adult. Why should I have to... This is what they mean when people call it because something a nanny state. Truth. God, I should start a VPN company. Should I do it? Should I start a VPN company and capitalise on this and be opportunist? The only people who can protect kids are the parents/guardians. That's literally the job description. Unfortunately, I'd hypothesise that this false sense of security is probably actually worse for the parents who aren't overly tech focused. Yeah, because look, the teenage boys are still gonna... And girls, right? Let's not be sexist, yeah? Teenage boys and girls. Girls watch porn too. It's not going to stop them. It's made it worse for everyone else. It's not going to stop them. But now there are going to be some parents who are like, oh, well, the government's taking care of my kids, so I guess I don't need to have the chat about how porn isn't reflective of real sex, because I don't want to have that chat with my teenager because I'm a wet lettuce. Here we go. Could VPNs be banned? UK government to look very closely into their usage following spike after age verification row. Wouldn't it be funny if the government looking closely at it was just Keir Starmer trying to Google what is a VPN, finding a Wikipedia link and then not being allowed on it because Wikipedia has banned the UK? Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be something? UK Science Secretary insists there are no plans to ban VPNs. The government, however, is looking very closely at how VPNs are being used. VPN demand has soared in the UK since July 25th. It's currently legal. That's not fucking ominous, is it? Good God. It is currently legal. I hate this place. To use a VPN to avoid the checks, but many of the best VPNs report huge spikes in downloads since the new measures came in. There's been debate as to whether authorities could end up banning their use. Some people are finding their way around the legislation, he admitted during an interview with Sky News this week. Do you know what? They're being innovative, right? They're being tech literate, which when the AI takes over, all of us are going to need to be tech literate, so grow up. Oh my God, I hate all of these people. I don't even know these people and I fucking hate them. Starting on July, they're so useless. We have so many real problems. We have a very real problem in the UK, right? I don't like talking politics publicly because it's a fucking minefield. But we have a very real problem that Reform are going to win. And this is what they're fussing about. And Reform have said that they would repeal if they got in. So that's millions of teenage boys who are like, yep, fair. We have real problems and they are literally just wasting our time with these like weird distraction nanny state methods. I hate this place. Just ticking a box to say you're over 18 will no longer be enough. This means all websites reserved for users aged 18 or over must ensure minors never access their services via identity checks. This includes social media, dating apps and gaming platforms, which are now expected to verify their users' age before displaying potentially dangerous materials. Dangerous materials? Mate, kids these days... Firstly, the dangerous materials are the manosphere podcasters who are telling teenage boys that women are nothing and are there to be used and abused, right? That's the dangerous materials. None of these people give a shit about it because they're so tech media, internet illiterate, they probably don't really understand the full breadth of the issue there. Secondly, dangerous materials. When I got the internet, it was the Wild West. It was 2 girls, 1 cup, 1 guy, 1 jar, 4chan, gore. It was awful. Not like nowadays where actually kids are they know how to use iPads but they don't actually know how to use computers properly. They just know how to like click on an app and then all the information immediately comes to them. I remember being a teenager being like, oh my God, what's the onion router? Will I be able to access information that the FBI has like secretly catalogued? Is the dark web full of, I don't know, top secret information the government doesn't want you to know? No, it's not. No, it's not. But these kids these days have no idea how Wild West the internet was back then. Dangerous materials indeed. The internet has got, like, manosphere podcast aside, the internet has got, like, Disneyfied to fuck. That's what the whole Adpocalypse YouTube thing was about. Them Disneyfying this service. So, think of the children and making it worse off for all of the creators. All of them. So, mate, the damage was already done when it was my generation and we grew up fine, for the most part. Petition to repeal the UK Online Safety Act has already reached over 450,000 signatures at the time of writing. That's gone up 100,000. Reform's UK leader, Nigel Farage, is strongly pushing to scrap what he described as a borderline dystopian legislation. Here we go. Reform UK vows to repeal borderline dystopian Online Safety Act. Nigel Farage and Zia Youssef said they would find other ways to protect children online, but admit they don't know how. That is funny. Yes, congratulations, Labour. They've won. Unless you pull your finger out and actually do something about the genuine problems we have in this country with people not being able to afford their bills, they've won. Thank you. Thanks for not. I fucking hate Keir Starmer. I hate them all. Yeah, do you see that video of like Keir Starmer and Macron clearly doing? I don't care anymore. What are they gonna do? Sue me. Clearly doing cocaine on a train. Fuck them. Reform had promised to repeal to limit false and potentially harmful content that would said make the UK a borderline dystopian state. So much of the act is a massive overreach and plunges this country into a borderline dystopian state, says Youssef. Powers given to the media regulator Ofcom to levy fines for harmful content would force social media companies to censor anti-government speech. There is that too, Yusuf claimed, saying even X, which is run by Elon Musk, would be forced to curb freedom of speech. I mean, he's already curbed freedom of speech because you're not allowed to criticise him on his own platform because he's the biggest fucking baby known to man. Any student of history will know that the way countries slip into this sort of authoritarian regime is through legislation that cloaks tyranny inside the warm fuzz of safety and security and hopes nobody reads the small print. It sucks because he's right. It sucks because he's right, but they know what they're doing. And believe me, when they get in, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to get better. Him and his crony mates are just going to get richer. Nothing's going to get better, but it's a done deal as far as I'm concerned. They've already won. Asked how reform would protect children, Farage conceded he didn't know how. Can I stand here and say that we have a perfect answer for you right now? No, he said. And that has probably just endeared him to so many people because it's a real answer rather than some sort of political nonsense. Can I just say that as a party we have more access to some of the best tech brains, not just in the country but in the world. That I can say to you. Asked about the act before a meeting in Scotland with Donald Trump, Keir he's so wet, man. He's so wet. Do you see that Trump dropped some papers and Keir was there like a good little fucking hallway monitor picking the papers up for him? Oh my god, I hate him. Got me edgy here and say the issue with Starmer, yeah, right? Tories undeniably bad. Undeniably. This country was a shit show with the Tories. But I feel like they don't really pretend to be something they're not. Like Rishi Sunak, wet lettuce, his wife probably tucked him in every night at bedtime. But Keir, he pretends to be that he's for the people. He can't make definitive statements on anything until he sees which way public opinion is going to go. And then he says he's simping for Donald Trump. Like, I'm not going to finish that sentence because I was going to say something really vulgar. But still, anyway, Keir Starmer said it was not censoring anyone. It was simply intended to protect children from harmful content, particularly about suicide. Starmer said the UK had free speech for a long time, adding, "We're very, very proud of it. We'll protect it forever." Sure. And then it's just Farage going on about a bunch of stuff. Farage gave no evidence to support the claims. Let's move on from that wetty. God, they're all just wet. UK government says it has no plans to repeal the Online Safety Act. Of course they don't, because they don't fucking understand what they're doing. Could it at least roll out a better system that values protecting used data? No, because they don't care. God, maybe someone in the government works for like a data mining company on the side. Who knows? The government has no plans to repeal the Online Safety Act. Is working closely with Ofcom to implement the Act as quickly and effectively as possible to enable UK users to benefit from its protections. Outlines how the Act's aim is not to penalise small, low-risk services trying to comply in good faith. Aim? But is that going to be the reality? Or is it because the internet is so like fucking big, far-reaching and nebulous, I feel like they're just trying to slap a blanket ban on it that isn't going to take into account small services, small websites that can't afford the verifications or whatever. They're literally slapping sellotape on a leak in the pipes of this shitty country and going, yeah, mint, that'll do. Outlines its compliance support for small services. It says Ofcom will take a sensible approach to enforcement of small services that present low risk to UK users, only taking action where it's proportionate and appropriate. Will focus on cases where the risk and impact of harm is the highest. Ofcom are kind of useless. Then we have this bloke, UK Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology, says you're on the side of extreme pornographers and predators if you want the Online Safety Act walked back. Finally, we're safe from nasty predators in checks notes cycling forums. Oh my god, PC Gamer. You guys are so sassy. I love you. Look at the picture. Wow. So the UK's Online Safety Act does, on the face of it, seem supremely flawed. For one, you can get past some of the age verification requirements with a picture of Norman Reedus or just by grabbing a VPN. This country is a joke. Detractors state the Act isn't fit for purpose, not just because it's straightforward to bypass, but because of the severe knock-on effects to internet culture, free speech, and some would argue the very child safety it tries to promote. The UK's own technology secretary thinks you're waiving... Can the technology secretary change their profile on TikTok without needing help from a Gen Z? That's what I want to know. Thinks you're waving the flag for extreme pornographers and predators. Yes, because we all know on my channel, on the Alizee channel, we are so I'm not even finishing that sentence in case it gets clipped. Oh, but you guys know how much. Yep, yeah. yeah, we support them over here. Fuck off. Like, that kind of rhetoric and extremist language isn't helping because it's so superficial. And I saw someone from Chelsea, I think it was Liv Bentley, she did some sort of advert for it, right? Got paid to make an advert where she was being all like half dressed and sexy on purpose, yeah. And then she was like, now that I've got your attention, the new law is a good thing. And basically it's about protecting children. And if you're not for it, you don't want to protect children. And it's like, oh, shut up. This is the issue with these issues. There's so much nuance and chat to have about it. You can't perfectly encapsulate it in like a 5-minute long video or one statement or one fucking stupid 1 minute long advert that you've been paid to make, Liv Bentley. It's nuanced because the internet is massive and it's already cocked up a bit if now teenagers can't go onto r/periods. Teenagers who need to know about periods. What's normal, what's not, when to see a doctor, blah, blah, blah. And again, if it was about protecting kids, they'd dismantle the BBC and get rid of any nonsense still hanging around in Parliament. In fact, if it was about protecting kids, maybe, is this treason? Maybe we should have a look at Prince Andrew and the royal family if it was about protecting kids. Waste men. All of them waste men. Peter Kyle accused Nigel Farage of being on the side of extreme pornographers. Kyle then later doubled down on X. If you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you're on the side of predators. It is as simple as that. It is not. You are a dumb fuck. It cannot be as simple as that in a conversation that is so broad and far-reaching. There is nothing. In fact, you saying as simple as that makes me think that you don't understand the internet and you don't understand what you're doing. Oh my God, I hate these people. I hate this country. Kyle might just be trying to score optic points against reform here, but this, in my opinion, is obviously wrong-headed. If we take a charitable read, overturn is different from change, but it's not hard to see this as painting all critics of the act with the same pervy brush. As someone who grew up on the internet, I do think it's a wild west for children. Oh, it was worse. It was worse when we were kids, and we're fine. But the Online Safety Act has not been going particularly well, and there are some arguments against it that I'll attempt to summarise as best I can without being an extreme pornographer about it. Wikipedia, for one, has taken to the trenches to fight against it, arguing that the Act's requirement of age verification violates its requirements for privacy on behalf of the editors. We must now defend the privacy and safety of Wikipedia's volunteer editors from flawed legislation, as they should. Meanwhile, smaller sites are being forced to shut down due to the difficulty of compliance or fear of fines. There's a couple of lists being maintained, but here's a few examples I could find. One of the many sites from the Online Safety Act.co.uk, Hamster Forum, a forum that helped people take care of their hamsters. Oh, are the hamsters on the side of predators? You using alarmist language that the average smooth brain is going to go, oh, I'm against paedophiles, so I guess I agree with Peter Kyle. You are fucking inept. In fact, he's probably not even inept. He probably knew what he was doing by saying that because he knew he'd get the smooth brains just clapping, being like, yeah. Who besides the maps is pro-paedophile? Shut up. The Green Living Forum, where users talked about sustainable living... discussion forums for local communities such as Eastleigh. Microcosm, a forum hosting service, was also bound to see hundreds of site shutdowns, including the LFGSS, the London Fixed Gear and Single Speed Forum, which hosts discussions for bicycle hobbyists. Nah, change my mind. Pro it. Pro the Online Safety Act if we can clamp down on the real problem in this country, that is London cyclists. They are on another level. They are cyclists on crack. They are not normal people. I'm pro it now. Changed my mind. Which was set to shut down alongside 300 other communities in March of this year. The forum's owner wrote, I can't afford what is likely tens of thousands to go through all of the legal and technical hoops over a prolonged period of time. These third-party verifications that are going to cost money to be able to do this. Oh, I wonder if anyone in our government has links to that. A bit how during COVID, didn't members of the Tory government have links to the PPE or PE or whatever it was? I wonder. All a bunch of crooks. Fuck them. Jeremy Corbyn started a party. Fuck these guys. Over a prolonged period of time, just to learn what I'd then need to technically implement to do so, and the site itself barely gets a few hundred in donations each month and costs a little more to run. This is not a venture that can afford compliancy costs. It looks like there's been a stay of execution, thanks to new management and fundraisers, but I'd wager that not every community will be so lucky. Then there are concerns over freedom of speech and privacy. While most ID verification companies claim to immediately delete your data, bollocks! Where's the proof? Where is the proof? There are plenty who are upset at the prospect of trading civil liberties for a potentially nebulous idea of child safety. There's also the common sense point that if you were a teenager wanting to look at online content, adult content, you might want a VPN but not have the money to buy one. And free VPNs are just as likely to be far sketchier than their paid alternative. Similarly, bet they don't even fucking know that though. Bet they don't even know that. They don't even know what VPN is, what it stands for. Similarly, shadier websites who simply don't care about violating the law might see an increase in traffic. You cannot play whack-a-mole with the entire internet. To summarise, many detractors of the Online Safety Act are concerned it violates freedom of speech, privacy, shuts down benign forums and communities, limits access to information, and might not actually make sufficiently motivated teenagers all that much safer. Wow, mic drop. Well done, PC gamer. Well done. And just to defend myself preemptively against any smooth brains who are like, no, he's right, you're on the side of paedophiles and predators, whatever. This has happened. UK Pornography Task Force to propose banning barely legal content after Channel 4 documentary airs about Bonnie Blue. I am okay with this. So, your move. Knight to E5. I think you should be at least 21. You want to do OnlyFans and star in pornography. I think you should be at least 21. Your age should not have teen in it. That's my personal viewpoint on it. I don't think it's particularly right or comfortable that some people, the moment that clock strikes midnight and they turn 18, they start an OnlyFans, and then millions of men who are also waiting for that clock countdown sign up. I think it happened to Bad Baby. It's just happened to Little Tay. So I'm actually fine with this. If they change the laws to 21 and over, I would be okay with that. I don't find that totalitarian. I think that would help protect people who are still too young to maybe consider the implications of what they're doing. Obviously, there will be some 22-year-olds who might regret it in 8 years' time too, but we can't do a blanket ban on porn. So there. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to this really long rant. I actually didn't mean to go on this much. I think I just got a bit passionate about how stupid this country is. It's always dusty old blokes most of the time trying to make these laws about the internet because they don't understand it and they don't go on the internet, or they just go on like X. Like, if that bloke Peter Carl, whatever his name is, cared about being ethical, why are you using X? Why are you on Elon Musk's little weird neo-Nazi site, freak? Anyway, that's all for today's video. I'm sure this is going to be a contentious one. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you didn't unsubscribe, thank you very much. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.